WrestleTalk.
We got a huge return and angle from last night's AEW Dynamite. Kenny Omega's music is back from New Japan.
Well, it sort of made its return at Wrestle Kingdom, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's New Japan. That's not technically a return. He just went back there. It was waiting for him.
I suppose, yeah, but now
This is...
Well, then it kind of returned here.
You're right, it's a debut.
It's a debut.
That screws up my segue, though, and joke, because what we're really talking about is Bryan Danielson returning after the Kenny Omega-Jeff Cobb match and turned heel. I'm Ollie Davis.
No, you do.
I'm joined by Luke Owen, DAD. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite review episode of WrestleTalk Podcast. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Dynamite, and send in your Omega chats to WrestleTalk.com/support to tell us how excited you are for the story. There's a story here.
What is the story?
It's a whodunit story.
So, the point I was going to make earlier is this whole Danielson turned heel. We've even got that as the title of this episode. Bryan Danielson heel turn. Bryan Danielson turned heel on Kenny Omega. Daniel Dragon heel turn, that thumbnail says. He has been listed as a heel internally like all year.
That's a good point.
Even during the MJF feud, he was listed internally on the run sheets as on the heel side. When we were saying he was a babyface last year, he was always coming out of the heel tunnel when they used to have the split entrances.
No one cares about the tunnels.
So he's effectively always been heel and never turned babyface. We just cheered him.
This is what I love. It's totally consistent with Bryan Danielson's character. It didn't feel like, this is a big turn. It's like, yeah. It was just that Max was more of a dickhead.
Well, he just wanted to prove that he was the best wrestler in the world, and to do that, he was going to win the title and expose Max. That's not exactly a babyface thing to do. The only real babyface moment you could say was in that match is when he geared up and started doing the yes chant before doing the psycho knee. That's pretty much about it.
Even the end of that match where he tapped out because he prioritized his family in that moment over wrestling in the ring. That's a babyface little emotion point, but that could also be for a heel. Kevin Owens used to use his family as justification for his heelish actions, although that wasn't a heelish action. It makes total sense.
It does make total sense.
And when he came down, so it was at the end of this great Kenny Omega Jeff Cobb match. The Bucks had been taken out the previous week. Hangman Page and Don Callis were taken out on the show earlier.
Don Callis. We'll get into Don in a little bit, but I love that little bit that they had.
And the blade job.
Yep.
It's a Moxley segment. Someone's going to bloody bleed. And then you had this match. So Kenny Omega, victorious after beating Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb, Thanos is away. And the Blackpool Combat Club surround the ring. And Danielson's music hit. But it was weird. Like the Tron didn't play. It was just the music. So I was like, is he coming? Is this just a distraction? And then he turns up, runs down, tells Blackpool Combat Club to stand down.
It was almost like he was, and I think that's why this feels like a heel turn, because it was almost played out like a heel turn for someone who never actually turned babyface in the first place. Because he came down and looked like he was trying to save Omega, stave off his former stablemates from attacking him, helped Omega up, and it was like, me and you, we'll fight these guys off. Second Omega's back is turned, runs at him, Psycho knee, lays him out, LaBelle lock, and all the others kicking him while he's in the LaBelle lock. He was at one point just grabbing him by the nose and just reaching up while flexing. Oh, it was rad.
Yeah, it was proper old school Danielson heel where he'd on purposely beat people while doing the arms pose. So there was it was wonderfully played out because the crowd all went, I thought you were going to turn. Well, that's cool. We want to see Danielson and Omega together. That's also okay. So they'd invested in that. Meanwhile, I'm at home screaming, turn on him! Turn on him! Omega goes to fight one of them off from the apron. And so my cat does this thing where she'll be all chill, just chilling like that, being a cat.
Yeah.
And then kill mode. Just changes like that. And in the kill mode, she'll do this. Now, audio listeners won't be able to see what I'm about to do, but video people will.
Right, okay, so I don't know how to tell you this. Your cat is not in kill mode. You have told me stories recently about how your house keeps getting surrounded by male cats,
She's charging up to pounce.
She's charging up to have sex with men cats. Or women cats. But it seems to be men cats because they're the ones that are surrounding
They're the ones that
house.
are surrounding the house and going...
Yeah, and she's inside, trying to trigger your cat flap to let the other cats in so they can come in and have sex with her.
Just have a giant gangbang on my floor, my kitchen floor.
When you're saying she's in kill mode, she's like, there's a man around. There's a man cat around.
I see your point. But this is a cat thing that cats do. They shake the booty before they pounce.
Before they have sex.
That's what Danielson was doing. He just suddenly started to shake his booty to power up the running knee.
Are you saying that Danielson was in heat?
Maybe. He was putting the message out there to Claudio and to Wheeler and to Mox.
Good heat, brother.
He was working the ass. Anyway, he turned on him. But it was so good. Like, I wrote in my review that hasn't gone out yet, by the way. YouTube has some processing issues, so...
Yeah, it's not just us.
You probably won't get the on-demand version of this for a while, but thanks for watching live. We think that's okay. We can see chats coming through.
Oh, yeah, people are watching this episode. Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
I don't know. You're so distracted by doing your little sexy dance.
The cat butt wiggle.
At least what you know. Well, now we know what you're like on a Friday night.
Twerking.
Yes, you've had a bottle and a half of a red Bordeaux.
A Prosecco. Bitch juice, they call it. Bit of lady petrol.
You've sunk it down with a nice pink G&T.
Oh.
And you're like, oh.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Thank you for stalling. When Dominic Mysterio, we all knew it was going to happen at Clash at the Castle. Yeah. Everyone at our live watch party, and we're all like, kick your dad. And he kicked him in the balls, and it was one of the best moments of the year in wrestling. I was actually saying out loud to my laptop screen this morning, 7 a.m. downstairs in my living room, that the light's not even coming through the shutters yet. I'm just like, turn heel. And he turned heel. I was so happy. Seeing Blackpool Combat Club, like we've been fantasy booking the last couple of weeks, those three with Danielson, we're the stars are aligning.
I know, but now Matt Jackson's hurt. And that's... I really hope that this storyline does not suffer from... Matt Jackson is legit injured. He is apparently as well trying to put off surgery, because if he gets surgery, he's out of action for like 7-8 months.
Bicep tear
or something. Yeah, so he's on the shelf currently. They did the angle last week to write both of them off, which I think they probably would have done anyway, because it's part of this story that, the Blackpool Combat Club are targeting the Elite. But this is supposed to be building to the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club versus Dark Order in Blood and Guts.
It's not. just again, for audio-only listeners who would have missed my face there, it's not, and it shouldn't.
But it's going to be.
Fine episode of TV. Not at the pay-per-view.
But so that's what I feel like we're building to, especially Double or Nothing. It's the home of anarchy in the arena and all that sort of stuff. So it feels like that's what we're trying to head towards. But yeah, Matt Jackson being on the shelf really does put up a bit of a stumbling block in that somewhere, because I want to see the Elite on the same page. I've now got Blackpool Combat Club, all four of them on the same side once again. Yuta, Claudio, Moxley, and Danielson. So cool. I'm so excited. I now am so excited to see Kenny back on side with Paige, and Paige with the Young Bucks, and all four of them fighting from the same corner. I want it so bad now.
Yeah, I agree. But unfortunately, life sometimes gives you lemons. And if I've learned anything from an AEW last 4 years, being a fan, and just like, you study how things get booked, you cannot just pause major storylines and take away all the momentum because someone gets injured.
Yeah.
Because this has been one of the main things that derail the momentum in AEW over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's just Tony's got a plan. The plan can't happen right now because of an injury. Okay, everything's on pause for 8 months, and then we pick it up, and the moment's gone.
Can't do the trios title. It's got to wait till Kenny's back.
So if Matt is injured, and he can't make it back, that sucks so hard. But you cannot risk not doing it. I'd put Takeshita in there.
Evil Uno. I suppose you can't put him in because he's going to be on the third team in this match. But yeah, Takeshita's a good second option.
Don Callis.
Oh, hey, he's a Survivor Series competitor.
Yeah,
he's got experience in these sort of multi-man matches.
One thing I wanted to ask was that a lot of this story has been the who done it. You know, who obviously Blackpool Combat Club took out the Young Bucks. Obviously, they attacked Kenny at the end of last week. Obviously, they attacked Kenny here. But there's this question like, yeah, but who's telling the Blackpool Combat Club to do that? I speculated last week it's Don Callis because Don seems to be wanting to split Kenny away from his elite friends to make Kenny the best bout machine version of himself, which is definitely the best version. Not really a heel storyline.
Yeah, well, this is Don Callis writing a storyline where he's right.
Yes. And he is.
And he's correct.
All the time. But I've lost my thought again.
Do you want to shake your butt?
Did that count? I think it's because it was my birthday last night and we're not used to late nights.
No, we played a couple of board games.
Still left at 10.
Yeah, but I didn't get it till after.
It's a weekday.
It was a weekday. It was a Wednesday night.
It's a school night.
Oh, we done Quizlemania.
I've got it back. Who is telling the Blackpool Combat Club what to do? Because Blackpool Combat Club beat up Don here. He legitimately busted himself open. I would say that writes him out of being the person pulling the strings. So is Danielson the person who's pulling the strings, or is there a, the network above them?
CM Punk.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think it's Punk. But could you imagine, though, if it's Punk? Who's the one guy who hates the Elite more than anyone else?
Let me make a note for tomorrow's news headline. Do you think it was Danielson? This was the reveal of Danielson being the puppet master?
I don't know if it's revealing he's the puppet master. I feel like this is just Combat Club just doing Combat Club things. This isn't a whodunit. But maybe it sort of is as well, because when Hangman was being interviewed backstage, they were like, who do you think attacked the Young Bucks? It's like, well, of course it was Blackpool Combat Club. I'm pretty sure we're all thinking it's them, right? Like
they came out later.
Yeah,
effectively confirmed it.
Yeah, but maybe they are doing a whodunit storyline, but it's a storyline where the people who are being attacked think they know the answer, but there is actually a Howard Power at the top of all of this.
The Howard Power being,
well, it was
Raven.
Vince McMahon. It was the original Howard Power.
He's behind the scenes in both companies now.
If it's Raven, the weirdest reveal. It's like, oh, okay.
He's in MLW. He's got a faction in MLW.
I know, but that faction's very different to Blackpool Combat.
That's a company Tony hasn't worked with yet.
Even though MLW just keep mentioning them in lawsuits and stuff.
It's QT Marshall.
That's
who it is.
It's the QTV expansion. QTV 2.
Well, let us know what you think. Mods, if you could grab a couple of answers, if people are either saying, well, it's Danielson, that they're just like a lone faction now and they're fully complete.
I mean, people are thinking it's still Callis. He took the fall because he's learned from the best. Callis is trying to throw us off. It's a red herring.
Yeah, the blood red herring. Well, let's talk about the other parts of the night that tie into this story, because this Dynamite was so well structured. This reminded me of the golden Dynamites mid-pandemic, because they really gave time and substance and multiple segments to the same arc, all in one condensed period. So the opening half hour was all 4 pillars, world title stuff. The second half hour was pretty much all Blackpool Combat Club Elite. You had Blackpool Combat Club. Let me just get these in order, actually. Have you got them?
I have, yeah. Well, it starts off with Marvez interviewing Kenny and Don Callis. This was one of my favorite segments on the whole show, because one of the things that came out from last week, and the conversations last week, was, well, surely Kenny will just know that Don Callis faked the bump from Hangman. And there were sort of 2 schools of argument against that, one of which was, it's pro wrestling, these sorts of things happen. B, Kenny is very explicit kayfabe. He does not watch the shows back. So he would not have seen that Don Callis did this. I thought they actually did option C, which was no one had thought of and is so much better. Callis apologizes. Callis said, look, I grabbed him by the wrist. He's much bigger and stronger by me. I didn't see it coming, and I fell over, and I need to go and apologize to him. But Kenny, I must ask you, why did you think that your friend would have attacked me? Planting that seed into Kenny to be like, yeah, you do think that, don't you? Because that is the sort of thing that Hangman would do to me.
So smart.
Oh, it's great.
Really, really good.
Really, really good. And even when he later went up to apologize to Hangman, like Hangman could see through it. Like Kenny can't see through Callis, but Hangman was like, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe this whatsoever. Even though it looked like he was going to give the handshake to be like, maybe we can work something out.
In between the Hangman bit and that Kenny segment, you had Dalton Castle and the boys, yes please, coming down for their 6-man tag. I love their entrance. I can't wait till Dolan does the peacock thing. Oh, those damn Blackpool Combat Club lads.
Yeah.
They attacked him in the entrance, and a rare 100% squash.
It was a total squash. Pinned one of the boys.
John Moxley choked out Dalton on the outside. Actual in-ring match probably went 30 seconds. Claudio, was it an uppercut and then a powerbomb?
Powerbomb, yeah.
Like a one-handed powerbomb, just lifted whichever boy it was.
Smashed him
up
on the
and
floor,
down.
Pinned him dead
1,
clean.
2, 3.
And it was a total squash match. Made them look like absolute killers.
Yeah.
It was a great, very effective squash match.
And got the right kind of heat from me because I was like, how dare you do that to the boys and Dalton? And then they like walk off through the crowd. They are such cool bullies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are.
They're definitely bullies.
Yeah.
They're badass bullies.
I think they're more badass. I don't think they're
cool.
I don't think they're bullies.
I think they're bullies.
Maybe.
Because they keep beating up people.
Yeah, but like bullies have a reason for beating people up. And maybe the Blackpool Combat Club do. Danielson did what he was when he was wailing on Kenny, he did keep saying, like, you are what's wrong with professional wrestling.
Where is the story?
If that is part of this, it'd be amazing. It's like you just have these dream matches for no reason. Where was the story for that? Yeah. I would love that so much. But yeah, maybe like that is their reasoning for it. Maybe they are bullies.
Then we got Kenny Omega versus Jeff Cobb. No, we didn't. We got the video packages of those, which I thought were really good. Both of the Kenny and Hangman stuff from last week and telling us who Jeff Cobb is. Great production work. This felt like a lot of thought had gone into how the viewers, mainstream viewers, or people just flicking around would catch up with storylines and things. And then we get Dom going to shake Hangman's hand, and they're jumped. Hangman is jumped by the Blackpool Combat Club, and you're like, oh, okay. So Don is in cahoots with them.
He's standing there, hands still out shaking. He was trying to shake hands with John Moxley. And John Moxley waffled him something hard.
And this shot played out in the perfect way where someone would played. John Moxley whacks him, Don goes down, camera goes back up to Moxley, Moxley looks down at him, camera comes back down, Don bleeding, looking into the camera. It is such a Blade job. Although that's not what happened, Don actually struck his head on a lighting rig, reportedly, as he flew over. And being the best person in wrestling was like, okay, camera, right into the camera, showed his bloody face.
Yeah, and Penny was kept overnight in hospital to get stitches. I think Brian Alvarez apparently described the gash on his head like he had been hit with a hatchet.
Wow. But then, then you cut to Tony Schiavone telling Kenny about what had just happened. And he's like, using the stuff that Callis told him last week, I must focus on my match.
Yeah.
And then he comes out to I know I made a joke about it earlier with the New Japan Bullet Club entrance music, but I think that's a huge storyline character beat because Kenny is reverting back to that gimmick.
Yeah.
I thought this whole half hour, characters, the returns, the angles. Yeah, I love it.
So good. This is what AEW has been missing. All those times last year, we were like, what is AEW's missing something? Something's like not everything is firing on all cylinders. It's the Elite. That is what it was missing. They were missing Kenny. They were missing the Bucks. They were missing Paige. And focus on them as the top stars in the company.
I would also add, though, Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, true.
Because they were the best thing in wrestling for 3 months. And then you're like, oh, it's still
feuding with
JS. Still feuding with Jericho. Okay. Oh, and that lasted through to August.
Yeah.
Oy.
Yeah, it did go slightly too long.
So like they've been freed up, and you've got this storyline where it's just everyone's a star.
It looks so cool. And this was a great match as well, Omega and Cobb for the IWGP United States Championship. Very good promos from Cobb as well, like beforehand in the video package to kind of tell you, if you've not seen Jeff Cobb before, this is who this guy is. And I popped huge for Kenny coming out to Devil Sky. I thought it was so, so great. And then they had this great sequence built around Snapdragons and like Kenny just doing all of these Snapdragons and stuff, and then Jeff just pops up out of one and just lariats him so hard. It was great.
Yeah, really good match. We also got a Fight Forever is coming soon graphic.
Did make me pop.
When?
Soon. Pre-order now.
Is this the new
Veer console?
2K23 is so much fun. We're playing it, and every lunch break you're doing Monday Night War. What is 2023? AEW's meant to be the best product with the best game, and here I am saying I can't wait for WrestleMania. I'm playing a 2K23 game.
Yeah, it's a good game though.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's a really fun game.
But yes, overall fantastic stuff. Love it. Should we see what people are saying in the Omega chats? WrestleTalk.com/support to get your opinions in. Kevin says, I love that Bryan woke up after Revolution and said, oh yeah, that's right, I'm in the BCC. What are they up to? Beating up Paige and Omega? That works for me. Sign me up.
Yeah, he went home, saw Brie Bella for a little bit and was like, yeah, this is fine, but what's John doing?
Yeah, a bit bored. He's like there for 2 days being a family man.
Munching on a little bit of celery. What else could I do?
It tastes like flesh.
This doesn't taste like my foot in someone's face.
Kevin again says, Bryan said when he was injured before Forbidden Door that he wasn't going to reveal his replacement, and then said, come on guys, I'm still a bad guy. I come from the heel tunnel. So maybe he was always a heel. That explains the comments about MJF's mum.
It's what has been reported as well. Will Washington has been like, yeah, I mean, it's presented as a heel turn, but he's been a heel internally for months and months and months now.
Nathan Colley says, when Bryan came out, I immediately thought of a heel turn. Don explaining last week was so much better than I thought. Has Don realised he can't split the Elite, or is he leading Blackpool Combat Club? This was AEW Sum. So, like, awesome.
Yeah, jam that jam. That was our old 4 out of 5 rating back in the day.
I don't know. It's still possible.
Yeah,
that Don would do that to get hit in the face to throw people off the scent.
It's a very Don move.
But I don't see how you then reveal it like, haha, I paid them to hit me in the face.
I paid them to send me into hospital.
Yeah.
Well, it's really, he's got one thing in mind. It's not so much about Blackpool Combat Club taking out the Elite. It's just Kenny being a single star.
Yeah.
That's all he wants, is Kenny to be the best bout machine. So if he could take those hits, show Kenny that you do not need the Young Bucks, you do not need Hangman Page, you don't even really need me by your side to be the best bout machine. I think you would take those. You would take those licks for it.
You really go the psychotic, I did it for you, Kenny, to make you the best you can be.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Charles Berg.
Not walking through Shibuya really depressed with a backpack on.
Charles Berg. Now I, Charles Berg, who stands at 6'4" and is worth over $100 million, I'm not one to lie, so it looked good. But I knew Daniel was turning on Omega the moment they were in the ring together, which also means that Max broke Daniel so bad, he turned evil. Oh, that's a good point. Like MJF is the Demon Finn Balor. No, the Bray Wyatt of AEW.
Yep.
Bonesaw Buck 823 says, adrenaline in my soul. Bryan with a turn on Kenny O. Great segment. Love when Dynamite ends with a shock and awe finish. Keep up the good work, guys. Well, it didn't end with that.
Yeah, I mean, the first hour ended with that.
Ended with Adam Cole selling for 20 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I'm just Marcus. Ollie, please never do that again. I came in just as you were doing that. Now my problem with this is, does heel turn feel a bit too soon after his emotional babyface promo post MJF?
Or maybe it was there all along.
Here's what I say to you, Marcus.
And Nathan Cooley adds, if Matt is out injured, they have a freshly returned Adam Cole, baby, or free agent Jay White. They could both use eyes. Both have history with the Elite, so it would make sense for the story. Cole is there, that's true. Or Matt Hardy.
Yep.
He's always
like last time. He's
always an option.
Always ready. Always willing. Let's get on with the rest.
There's a couple more here. Jim says, I was so upset when Blackpool Combat Club attacked Castle and the boys. I don't pay attention to pre-announced matches, so popped massively when their entrance started. And then boom! Blackpool Combat Club ruined my night. 97% show for me overall. And an unknown username, apologies rather. Streamlabs are losing usernames. It's a known issue. They say they're looking into it, but this shows that they're not. Say, hey guys, love the pod. Do you reckon they could do a little Bullet Club reunion thing, bring in Adam Cole to help the Elite? I think it would work then. Once it ends, goes into so many different other stories. Also, Ollie, you have to give me your hair transplant advice. Have you had one?
I don't know what he's talking about. Adam Cole will not be available for the rest of the year because he is feuding with Jericho now, unfortunately. And a hair transplant, it all depends where you live. I would not advise going abroad for it. I don't know about American ones, although Bosley, we were sponsored by, they seem to be very good at giving advice. I got it done at the Hair Regrowth Centre, but they've got a few over the UK. But send in an email to support@wrestletalk.com and I'll try and give you some more details. And the chat consensus, according to the moderators, is Don Callis is still behind the Blackpool Combat Club by a large margin.
Yeah, I get that feeling.
Oh my.
I know
my notes have disappeared.
Yeah, my notes disappeared as well. But this show kicked off with Jungle Boy versus Matt Hardy. And I really like that last week's opener was Darby. This week's opener is Jungle Boy. Maybe next week we'll have something Sammy related, although Sammy's wrestling on Rampage against Action and Ready. So maybe that's sort of like the Sammy bit of this. But it was about that 4-pillar storyline with MJF. This is why I thought last week they should have given Darby the win. Like, I don't know, it's grand for Sting and everything, but I'd have given Darby the win there. So you can get Darby gets a win here, Jungle Boy gets a win here. Whatever happens with Sammy and Action Andretti on Rampage, it was going to happen there. But I like that this was a showing for Jungle Boy. He be a ring veteran in Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy did everything he could to make Jungle Boy look good, even though Jungle Boy doesn't need a lot of help in that regard. And then he got to cut a really good promo afterwards with MJF.
I like the match.
Yeah.
It wasn't Orange Cassidy, which felt a bit weird because Dynamite's always open with Orange Cassidy matches now.
Yeah.
But the Matt Hardy stuff, I thought he wrestled quite well even before the Ethan Page interference. Hook took out Ethan Page. Ethan Page accidentally clocked Matt Hardy. And then it went into like quite a nice 2-minute long sequence between Matt Hardy and Jungle Boy. So good match in and of itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, MJF comes. We had Sammy and Darby backstage watching on as well, keeping this 4 pillars thing spinning.
Yeah, really like that. And they told a story. This was serving 2 masters as well here because you were doing the 4-pillar stuff, but also more of this firm stuff. There's no Stokely Hathaway around because of what happened with Hook last week. And Matt was like, they were putting it on commentary. He seems to be quite enjoying his time in the firm at the moment. Like him and Ethan Page are getting on like quite well because they've been doing probably had like 12 matches on Dark or something. But then Ethan Page was trying to offer advice or trying to interfere, and every time he was doing it, it was bad advice, and the interference was not really working. It's not really what Matt wanted. And then you're right, when the Hook came out to stop them, Ethan Page accidentally clocked Matt. So more dissension within the firm as well, if that's a story you're into.
If that's what you're into. Jungle Boy's got a new finisher. No snare trap here. Running lariat to the back of the head.
I think he's done this before.
Oh, it's new to me.
I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I think so. I mean, I was very wrong on the predictions video yesterday when I did the whole Gangrel thing. Turns out, what I was thinking of was Gangrel made his entrance with the Young Bucks.
When?
In their feud with the Hardys. They did a deal on Rampage where Gangrel did the entrance with them, and they did a Brood entrance.
Oh, okay.
That's what
Back when Rampage mattered. So out comes MJF afterwards, and, he's just great MJF. This promo segment went like 10, 12 minutes. I've seen some people say it's a bit too long. I love it.
Yeah.
I do not think this is long. You've got loads of other long matches on this show. I felt this was exactly the length it needed to be.
Particularly because all the points they were making mattered to the story.
100%.
I particularly like that they were like highlighting how they had that match at Double or Nothing, and MJF looked him in the eye and gave him some sage advice. And that sage advice was, ditch all of your friends, because they are going to hold you back. And Jungle Boy was like, I thought it was going to do like, don't do it for the fans or anything like that. It was like, no, ditch your friends. You could just do this on your own. And he's like, and you stuck with them, but how did that work out for you?
It's a good point. Luchasaurus turned on him. Christian Cage turned on him. Marco Stunt left.
And he was like, now you're starting with Hook. Where do you think that's going to go?
Yeah.
Already planting that seed within him to be like, I don't know why you would trust that guy.
Max was right.
Max was
to
right.
an extent.
Absolutely.
But Jungle Boy, blue-eyed babyface, which can sometimes be frustrating, but I felt like they balanced the line very well. He was like, no, I'm going to do this my way. The blue-eyed babyface way, who keeps people who will obviously turn on me because I'm a moral person.
Hey, it worked out well for Sting all those years.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a point where he was making that, like, there are times where I wish I could wake up and be like you. That I could just ditch my friends. Like, I could just be a narcissistic piece of S. The crowd's like, a piece of S, piece of S. He said, but I can't do that. I'm going to beat you for that title anyway.
It was a really good build to that line, and he also had another bit in it.
I remember what it was now. I'm going to beat you for that title, and when I wake up with that title, I'm not going to hate myself like you do.
Which is a very nice callback to the CM Punk MJF feud.
And what I really liked from that is that MJF sold that, because MJF does hate himself. We saw a lot of this during the Danielson feud. He does hate himself. And you could see that selling into his face. And then all of a sudden, like, the mask went right back up. And he was like, back to MJF. Look, everyone, Jungle Boy finally cut a good promo. Back to that MJF tactic. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Of good, because it was Punk, wasn't it, who first said, I look in the mirror and ask if I'm the good guy.
Yeah.
And Max has sort of echoed that. And then it's echoed here. Such good writing. Yeah. It's great writing, this.
It's a foreshadow that CM Punk's coming
Yes,
back.
did nothing wrong. And then the line that pushed everyone over the edge was MJF said, Jungle Boy's girlfriend, Anna Jay, said that he was weak between the knees.
Yeah, because he's a weak person and he's weak between the legs.
He's got erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
So that started a brawl. JB got the better of it. So Max, really made Jungle Boy look good. And in the promo as well, Max really put over Jungle Boy. That first fight they had was like, I respect you.
Such a good match.
I realized in that moment that we will be feuding for the rest of our careers.
Yeah,
that's how good you are.
And you were really, really hammering home the point that Jungle Boy should have won that match. Because that was your argument with Jungle Boy should have won. Because the story that she tells is that Max cannot beat Jungle Boy.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good. And then you do it here.
You'd have done it here. I am so excited for next week's episode.
Yes!
Next week's episode of Dynamite is in Long Island. It's in MJF's home. It's in his backyard. And I hope they do a 4-pillar segment in Long Island because the heat that the other 3 will get.
I feel like my heart is Long Island. Because we all really do love Max.
Yeah.
And just once or twice a year, we just want to cheer him. Just give us that. It's a release. It's a cathartic release to recognize how an awesome heel he is.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think they'll do?
Well, apparently they're doing an MJF Day celebration. So I'd imagine the 4 pillars interrupt like they did with the Rebar Mitzvah.
Oh, I hope they because one of the slight critiques we had for the Rebar Mitzvah, great segment overall, but maybe they didn't fulfill the full potential of the Rebar Mitzvah idea.
Yes.
Hopefully they do that next week, whatever it is. Yeah, and that's the first, there was also a 2.0 Acclaim segment where 2.0 are trying to get them into the JAS.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun bit, though.
Fun bit.
The video
very well shot.
Was very fun. And that was the first hour of the show. That's it.
With the Blackpool Combat Club stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that hour is 98%. Great stuff. Brilliant stuff. After that, so after we had all the Blackpool Combat Club stuff, Danielson's return, we had the Guns sitting down for an interview. They put over the titles versus careers match for next week against FTR.
Yeah. Dax was very salty about Bryan Alvarez's thoughts on this.
No.
Because Bryan Alvarez was like, what was the point of any of this? It's like, I don't see why they turned this into a story. And they've either re-signed or their contracts were never going up to begin with. No one buys this as a story whatsoever. And Dax was very upset about that on his podcast, by all accounts.
Okay. I'm not I am like, this is one of those stories where I'm like, I can't wait till we're on to the next thing.
Yeah. Me too.
Orange Cassidy did have a match. He defended against Butcher in a really decent match.
Really enjoyed this, and it told a very effective story as well, which is Orange Cassidy when's he going to break? He's defending that title all the time in very grueling matches. And even at the end of this one, he had to resort to means that are kind of coloring outside of those Orange Cassidy lines in order to get the win. And they were like, he was laying there, he had the title, but he was a beaten and broken man. They were like, I think he's being pushed to the limit with the amount of defenses he has in him.
So the way it played out was, even though Blade was ejected from ringside early on for interfering, Blade snuck in behind the ref's back, hit Orange Cassidy with a crowbar. And Butcher got a near fall on him. And then the best friends come down. They start beating up Blade. And when Butcher is out the ring, I think it was Chucky T, got the crowbar and hit Butcher with it. Butcher gets back in the ring, and then Orange Cassidy wins off of that.
Yeah, the beach break.
Yeah, and the commentators really focused in on, that's not usual for Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
So hopefully not a heel turn. That would be disastrous. No. But just telling this idea, probably building to an actual big storyline challenge.
Yeah. Like, he has now got his ultimate challenge, his ultimate defense that he's got to make.
Who would you do that with? Oh my God, I've got it. Pac.
I was going to say Pac. He's not been on TV for a while. That's we're a few years removed from their Revolution match. He won the title off of Pac as well. Pac coming back to challenge him for the belt. I'd be in for that.
We got a Jade Cargill promo. They've got a legal processor now. And she is going to try and serve Ty Valkyrie papers to stop using the Jaded move.
I thought this was the angle we did last week.
Juice Robinson cut a promo on Action Andretti. He's got a match against him on Rampage.
Sammy's got a different match then. I kept saying that Sammy was having a match with Action Andretti. I think that happened like 3 weeks ago. I think Sammy's in action on Friday then.
We had Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale, which was effectively the same match as last week with Tony Storm versus Sky Blue, getting over the homegrown AEW talent in defeat. Like, a really good match.
Really good match.
And the crowd are super into Nightingale.
I thought Willow sold her disappointment in Ruby so well. That's the great thing about Willow Nightingale. She is an incredible, affable babyface. And the look, I was just crestfallen.
Yeah.
That she was standing on the other side of the ring with her. I don't like to beat this drum too much, but I actually would have liked a video package. Just a quick one to highlight, because they were then talking about how they had that street fight against JAS. And I was like, oh yeah. I'd have been so cool to have like shown some of that and shown the relationship they had as a tag team to just really emphasize the emotion and drama around this match.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think Willow's facials in general, I don't want to say anything too hyperbole based, but she's so sincere. It's like NXT Bayley.
Yep, that's exactly what it's like.
Not to that level.
Nope.
But maybe she can get to that level.
Yeah.
It's the same tone, because it's very hard to be affable as a really blue-eyed babyface. And whatever strain it is, she's got that. Unfortunately, there is a big critique here. Bring out some backup.
Yeah, I thought we did this angle last week.
Yeah, the fact that the baby faces have not learned to bring two of your mates down to face the Outcasts, who will have two of their mates and they will interfere and spray paint you green. It's just making me go, well, you're done now. And Rio and Sky Blue were backstage. They didn't even do ready with the pipe. They didn't even write them off as, oh yeah, but they were attacked or blah, 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 blah. That's why they're not here. And the real big thing here, and it did work because it got a huge pop, was Jamie Hayter making her return after a couple of weeks. There's been visa issues to make the ultimate save. And then they do the visual sell on her versus Rio for next week. Can't wait for that match. But that means you got two instances of saves. If you had Rio and Sky Blue down there from the start, and the Ruby, not Tony Storm, Ruby got the win because of some distraction, and then everyone's brawling, but the Outcasts cheat, so they're on top, and they're beating them down, the crowd are booing. then Jamie Hayter's music hits. That's how you book that angle.
Yeah.
That's quite template.
Champion comes out to save her challenger for next week.
Yeah.
As well as the others and to run off the Outcasts. Yes, that would have made sense to me.
But having 2 entrance save spots, it does slightly take the edge off the second one.
Particularly because we did the Riho save spot last week.
Yeah.
I would say that is a very valid critique of this segment, but it was a very, very good match.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you to the chat. Takeshita is who Sammy is wrestling.
Oh, cool.
Rampage.
Oh, very good. Another loss for Takeshita, though, probably.
Well, maybe you'd imagine so, yeah. But you got to rack up those losses first. It worked out.
He's got to win, though.
I was about to say it worked out well for the Gun Club, but they kept winning.
We got a Hobbs promo. Totally different from QTV.
Yeah, I prefer this.
Much prefer
prefer this. Nothing against QT. Yeah, his new finish is very snazzy, but I prefer this for Hobbs.
It's just 2 different acts. And AEW are telling me they're the same act. I'm like, no, they're
not.
not.
They're not.
They're totally
Stop
different.
gaslighting me, Tony. They're not the same thing.
The other thing, for the main event now, Adam Cole making his much anticipated long running built return, 280 days or something out because of the multiple concussions he had. Take on Daniel Garcia. And there are some rules in wrestling, like I just talked about then, that you don't do the same spot after the same spot, particularly after you did one of those spots the previous week. It's just diminishing returns. There's also this rule where, and you can break the rule, there are exceptions, but generally you have the babyface enter second because the heel comes out, they heel it up, the crowd boo them, they're excited to see the babyface. That way makes the Adam Cole entrance bigger.
Yeah.
But Adam Cole came out first. And I was just like, I was kind of hoping for this to be a really big, anticipated, cut the atmosphere in the arena with a knife.
It made me think that Garcia had already made his entrance.
Yeah.
And we were like going to cut to ringside and we're like, and his opponent already at ringside, Daniel Garcia. But no, Garcia got his full entrance second.
And that just, it set the tone for what was, unfortunately, a pretty underwhelming return match.
It was what it needed to be. It reminded me of, and this is a very big comparison to make, and I don't fully agree with this, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Punk Derby match. That Punk Derby match is very, very good. But the crucial point of it is it was exactly what it needed to be. Punk came out, he got worked over by Darby, and he made his comeback, and he hit his big spots, the spots that people wanted to see, and he won. It was just almost like that is everything it needed to be. It didn't need to be anything more, didn't need to be anything less. This was sort of what it needed to be. It was story based around the neck. Like, he took 2 pile drivers and had to sort of like, they were telling a very harsh story of like, oh, how can he possibly come back from this? You know, with all the concussion and stuff. What a valiant babyface. He was like, I bought this more than I did Triple H's one, the Jericho match at WrestleMania X8. And then he hit the Panama Sunrise. He dropped the boom and he won. It's not what I would have done, though.
That's 15 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
Adam Cole hit about 3 moves.
And I would have done more. This was what it needed to be. Adam Cole came back. He got his entrance, he hit his moves, and he won. Problem is that there was also a long period of time of him just being beaten down, and he didn't look all that great coming out of it. And also, like, other thing he needed to do was set up his next feud. I don't think I'm excited. I'd like to be excited about, but I've seen what happens when you fall into the Jericho vortex.
The referees stopped the match a lot as well. A lot of checking on Cole's condition, and
that's the story. Sorry to cut you off there. It's an All Access sell, and a lot of the All Access sell is Adam Cole's injury. So I guess you want to kind of highlight that and really play that up in the match, because that then plays into the story they're going to be telling in the show that's coming directly afterwards.
Yeah. So what it reminded me of, because I agree, on paper, this makes utter sense. Total utter sense. He's coming back after a year. Hasn't been able to train either because of the nature of the concussion. There will be ring rust. You want to lean into the idea of the bad head injury stuff, pile drivers, play on the sympathies that way. But he also said that he was going to make a statement. This is meant. I thought this was going to be the debut, really, of babyface prime Adam Cole. And what I want from that is freaking awesome, all the spots, super kicks, great Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But what I felt like it compared to more was Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania return match.
Great comparison.
Well, we all wanted to see just Bryan be Bryan Prime again and destroy everyone. But what we got was Shane McMahon wrestling a handicap match against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Bryan came in and hit a few spots where, hey, we're all like, well, I'm glad he's back. And that's what I'm left with here. I'm very glad Adam Cole's back.
Yeah.
He's an amazing wrestler. I'm so glad that the concussions he had or the head injuries he had will not make him retire. And they made a big deal of it. They had the confetti down when he won. Britt Baker came down and gave him a little smooch.
Again, because she's a very pivotal point of All Access. Mm-hmm. So like this was a match. This felt less like a match to have a returning wrestler and more like a match to be an advert for a reality show that is coming on directly afterwards. And that is not what I would do with your Adam Cole return match.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's that. I mean, it's not really anything to go into because it was just Garcia working over Cole for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The pile drivers were cool.
Yeah.
Don't see those often. Pile driver in the first minute, that's a really cool spot.
And it was cool to see Adam Cole, I was about to say wrestle again, but we didn't see him. It was cool to see Adam Cole do his entrance again and to hear that theme. And the streamers were lovely. And yeah, the final bullet point to this is Chris Jericho came out to help Daniel Garcia. And as he's walking up the ramp, just went...
Never looked at him in the eye.
Never looked at him in the eye, just sort of did a little look over his shoulder, walked up a little bit more, stopped, another little look over his shoulder, and then walked up. So that sets up Cole versus Jericho, likely for Double or Nothing.
Yeah, so in 2 months.
Well, yeah, but, it's fine because they don't have the rematch at All Out, in September.
He's got to beat every single member of the JAS.
Are you telling me you're not looking forward to Adam Cole versus Jake Hager?
I can't wait for Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia again with Sammy Guevara shouting advice at ringside.
Yeah.
Adam Cole and Hangman maybe versus 2.0. Whoop-de-doo.
Who won't be involved in elite stuff? It'll be Adam Cole and probably Action Andretti.
Yep. Yeah.
But still, cool entrance theme.
Glad he's back.
Glad he's back.
I also, so what I've seen of All Access as well, I don't think this is the show that's going to do anything for AEW. It's gonna interest a portion of the AEW existing audience. I cannot see this breaking out into introducing new people to AEW like a Total Divas
That's it. This is not going to be Total Divas or Total Bellas. Because I think you have to have an interest in the inner workings of wrestling to find the interest in it. Because apparently, like, Britt Baker goes off on one about how she doesn't respect Thunder Rosa and stuff. And because it's reality TV, it's like, well, that probably is about as much of a work as doing a wrestling show is. So what this ends up being is less Total Divas or Total Bellas, and it's more the TNA one that we used to get that came like an hour after or half an hour after Impact finished.
Not Explosion.
I was trying to think what it was called as well, but it's the one where Hulk Hogan, when like I don't know why these people are complaining about fighting over fake belts and trying to be like, ooh, it's so cool and it's real and edgy. And I was like, this is as much of a work as anything else is, because all reality TV shows are work. So I don't see what the point of this is, but like I said way back when they announced the show, the big plus point here is this shows that AEW still have a very good relationship with Warner Discovery, which was what a lot of people were concerned about after the merger. New people come in. It's not the same heads that signed the deals in the first place. So we may find ourselves on rocky ground. This is what killed WCW. That was like, the big panic worry. But all we've seen since the merger is Warner Brothers Discovery are very much behind Dynamite, and they've just granted them another new show. And there's
maybe another one.
And possibly another. Exactly. So like they have got a very, very strong relationship. That's the big positive for me when I think about All Access, but I'm not going to watch it.
Watch some clips.
I'll see some clips. People will share it online, and I'll catch up on highlight form in Twitter videos that are 40 seconds long or GIFs that have got subtitles on them.
I gave this episode 90%.
Great show.
90 or 91.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 show for me. Really enjoyed it.
It's a shame we're ending on sort of what was a bit underwhelming, because that first hour is top tier programming for wrestling.
Loved it.
We've got no Patreon shoutouts. We've done them all for this month, but please, anyway, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk and check out our offerings, like our review of WrestleMania X8.
Yeah, we just dropped a little bit of a nuggets from what you can expect from there when we talked about our thoughts on that Chris Jericho Triple H match. You loved it, didn't you?
Really liked it. Not as much as you think I did, going by yesterday's Quizzlemania. But I enjoyed it.
I was talking about that main event specifically, but the show itself is a very good WrestleMania. Well, it's a good WrestleMania.
There's a couple of good matches on there.
Ric Flair, Undertaker.
Love it.
It's so much better than you think. But that's available now over on Patreon. It's 3 hours and 33 minutes as a podcast. And that is just one of about 50 plus of these shows that we've done now. We have done one every single month for like the last 5+ years, 6 years maybe. We have done a pay-per-view review that's about 2 to 3 hours long every single month. And there are fun clips in there and everything like that. It's a more of a produced show than this is, because those won't get taken down by WWE. So go over there and check those out, as well as all the other bonus content you get over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk.
But for now, last call for Omega Chats. WrestleTalk.com/support. Please send them in there. Harrison Earl says, makes no sense for Moxley to align with Callis. He was ready to murder Regal for costing him the title and shouldn't have a different reaction to Don. Also, Danielson has gone home to the BCC and kicking people's effing heads in. Sublime. Yes, people did say that, didn't they? Is he going home to the Blackpool Combat Club, or is he going home to his family?
But also, I actually agree with Harrison there. You know, Callis did cost him the title way back when he first aligned with Kenny.
Yeah. Don't mind me, I'm at work, says, forget MJF. The real reign of terror is Chris Jericho's Vortex, pulling in any hot act in AEW to elongated feuds and spits them out significantly less over than they were before. He can't keep getting away with this.
I don't know. I'm sure Adam Cole versus Juice Robinson will be just as good.
We haven't got your name, this person, so please get in touch with the mods and we'll give you a shout out. It's a fault with Streamlabs that handles the chats that come in. Let's be real, guys. Tell me how excited you are for MJF to come back home next week and for all those non-bacon, egg and cheese eating bozos to get booed out of the building.
They all veggies, are they?
Non-bacon, egg and cheese. I don't understand, because I doubt MJF. I don't know how strictly Jewish he is, but you shouldn't eat pork if you are a devout Jewish person. So are the other 4 pillars also?
Well, or are they just vegetarian? Because you can only eat eggs and cheese if you're vegetarian.
I guess so. I
think
I'm confused by the insinuations of this comment. Hot tag.
Thank you very much. BM Whitehouse says, I cannot wait for Bound for Glory later this year when CM Punk debuts in the one company whose bridge he has not burned yet, which will cause Ollie to start reviewing Impact with Stephen Larson or Dan as a result of it.
That would make me do it.
Harry Iverson says, hey guys, Geordie Bus Driver here, and it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Just want to keep up the amazing work. Quizlemania was great yesterday. Can't believe Pete and Ollie have the same birthday. I'm back working for the airport, so maybe I'll have another Rusev, hey. Hopefully so. Look forward to it. Mr. Higglesby saying, it's a lovely time with the lovely boys. Hope you had a wonderful birthday, Ollie.
Thank
Luke, any update on Cutscene? Thoughts on Shibata and Yuta coming up? Would also love to hear Tempest thoughts as well, if you could pass those along. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
Well, talking about it earlier with the Ring of Honor show, I think we're all going to try and make time to watch it this weekend.
Well, you and
don't know when.
You and I are here at the weekend.
Yeah, I'll watch it Sunday day.
Yeah, because I'm doing the live reactions, and you and I are doing the podcast. So we'll be in the office together, so maybe we could find some time to watch it together.
On our comfy beanbag chairs.
But
yeah, Tempest is very excited about Shibata and Yuta. And Cutscene?
Cutscene. The first episode is released next Friday. Next Friday is the launch of Cutscene. We might have something special happening on Wednesday. That is TBC. But the official launch is on Friday next week. The perfect Super Mario Brothers that never happens. So check that out. Charles Berg says, just hope it's understood that I'm actually 5'8" and worth way less money.
Well, I don't know. The amount you chat in, Charles.
Sheldon Jackson here says, not sure if you've heard, but ESPN in America is going to announce what matches are taking place on what night for WrestleMania this morning.
Smart move. Get some publicity out there by giving news exclusives to big sports networks. Oh, and also the news is finally posted.
Hey.
You can go and watch my AEW review now and Luke's news.
It only took nearly 3 hours for it to process.
But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here today. Please subscribe to this channel. Go over and watch the news right now, please. It helps us out. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke going DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.